Welcome to another and the last episode of our inaugural season of the Power to Be Show. We hope that you have been empowered and inspired by the episodes we have released this season. This is where you can be connected, be creative, and be courageous. And what better way to end such a dynamic season than to sit down and talk with none other than Kenya Madison. You may know her as Kitty Lundan. She is a multimedia creator, a mother, wife, and daughter. This is a good one, so be sure to listen in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Instagram as Power to Be Show. Our sponsor for this episode is Living Word Christian Community, located at 2390 South Military Trail, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33415. The service begins at 10:30 a.m. each Sunday on Facebook, Instagram, and in person. We hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you, Alexis. It is a joy, a delight to be here today and have on the show with us a very special person, Kenya Kitty Madison. We are happy to have you here. I'm delighted to have you on our show.
Thank you so much. I'm so, when people call my government name Kenya, I'm like, that is me, isn't it? Because I've been going by Kitty Lundan for so long now. Mm-hmm. But that's a great reminder of where I came from.
Okay. So do you mind if I call you Kitty?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Listen, okay. You can call me Kenya, Kitty, Queen.
I
mean, whatever you want to. I am yours.
Okay, well, the queen sounds good too. So we can work with that as well. Well, one of the things that I have really enjoyed being able to do is to talk with people about their life, their work, particularly those who are what we would consider entrepreneurs, or those who have done something kind of outside of the box.
Oh, yes.
And use their own giftedness to glorify God. And so we talk about how God is involved in the work you do every day, and not just people showing up to church on Sunday, but I live my life and God is a part of that life on a daily basis. But what I want to do, first of all, is to talk about, I want you to tell us, how did you enter into the space of multimedia world? And tell us about something about your journey there.
Okay. Well, first of all, it started when I was a young child. At the age of 12, I remember I wrote one of my first poems that actually ended up being a rap. And I've always loved music.
Okay.
Music has always been something that has been instilled in me. I cannot sing. I can't hold a tune.
Oh, okay.
However, I can write, I can create. And that's something that's always just been in me to do.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know how far you want to go back.
Well, you say you can't sing, but you can rap.
Yes.
Okay, now
yes.
I'm not going to ask you to rap.
Okay.
I guess I could, but you can say no or yes. But anyway, the fact that you were entertaining yourself by
Correct.
Writing, and you say you wrote poetry, right?
Right. And interesting that you say entertaining yourself. I'm an only child.
Aha. Gotcha.
So being an only child, I always say it's a curse and a blessing. And I say that the reason why I say that is because you don't have someone else to play with, right? And some people may say, "Oh, that was sad. You didn't have siblings. You didn't have that whole thing with sibling rivalry and someone to be with and talk to."
Sure.
So I had cats, I had teddy bears, I had my other personalities that I came up with.
All right.
And for people that are not only children, they may not understand that, but people who are only children know that you were kind of forced to be creative.
Mm-hmm. You had to create that world for
that
you.
World for you, right?
Yeah.
So I came up with a lot of characters at a young age. And it was very interesting for me. And I was okay with it growing older, but I realized how I had different personas.
Yeah.
Being an only child, I started acting. I used to go in to all my school plays. Most of the parts that I went out for, I got.
Okay.
Again, because of that creativity.
Okay. So part of your giftedness, this creativity, is a way in which you began to find what it was you wanted to do in your adult life. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Correct. So when I was a young mom at 18 and I decided to go to school, I wanted something really quick because I realized at a younger age I had to make a way. My mom and my aunt, they were always supportive, but I felt like, I'm 18, I had a baby, I need to become an adult.
Okay.
So I went to Palm Beach State, and at that time they were offering an associate in science in film and TV. Because again, going from the musical, and I was signed to a label. That's a whole nother story.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wait. You were signed to a label, but you
Record
can't sing.
label.
But you can't sing.
no, but I was rapping.
But you're right. Oh,
yeah,
you're rapping.
Yeah, I was an
Rapping.
artist.
Okay,
I was an
gotcha.
artist.
Okay,
I was an
okay.
artist. I was in a couple of groups, but I've always again had the passion. So I always wanted to be in front of the camera, but I also had a passion to be behind the camera.
Okay.
Because I quickly realized the people that are in front of the camera have more pressure.
Mm.
Because you have to look a certain way, you have to
Okay.
sound a certain way, and if you don't fit that, you won't be in front of the camera.
Yes.
So I said there's always a job behind the camera. No one cares how you look as long as you produce. So I got my social science and film and TV. And it kind of just stayed there because the first job that I was offered was like an editor job at a local news station, only paying $8 an hour. And I was like, I can't support,
Right.
But had I, when I think about it now, doctor, had I stayed, I might have been like a really big producer now. But that wasn't my mindset. The mindset was the money. And I'll get into that later in our interview, how God comes into that. But the mindset was money. So I started doing a telecommunications job. I got laid off, and then I started working for a cable company. So I kind of suppressed my creativity.
Gotcha. So you initially was just looking for survival.
Correct.
So to survive and not to thrive.
Correct.
Gotcha. And so when it looks like there are some opportunities, doors are opening where you're able to really utilize the gifting that God has given you. And so you're saying that you went through college, got your degree, and then you said you got connected with a cable company.
Right.
Now, I know that you've been, 19 years with Comcast?
Correct.
Is that the cable or is there another cable?
Yeah, no, that was the cable company.
Okay.
But the jobs that I had, well, I still have there, really didn't expose my creativity. I worked for like customer service.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
did other departments. It wasn't until one day I went to a women's symposium. I didn't even know what a women's symposium was. And it was thankfully through Comcast. I sat in a room at the Kravis Center with about 300 women.
Okay.
And these were movers and shakers. These were entrepreneurs.
Gotcha.
These were women who were on the top of their game, and they're speaking to us. And I looked around the room and I said, there are only less than 10% that look like me. Nothing wrong with it.
Sure.
But I also am a makeup artist, and I worked for a company called MAC for 8 years, and I met a lot of influential women. I actually was doing makeup for women that when I went to their houses, it looked like mini mansions. And I said to myself, wow, I would love to fill a room like this with the same people, but who look like me. Because the world needs to see that Black women or minorities can do the same thing. So I told my colleague, I said, I'm going to do something like this. And she was like, go for it. So about 60 days later, I came up with a conference called What's Love Have to Do with It? And it was featuring entrepreneurs, actually a couple pastors from here. And I did my first women's conference. And after that, I said, you know what? I want to do a show called The People of Power. And that came to me. And I said, that was God. And I wanted to do where I showcase not only the cars and the houses, but the story behind how they got there. Because see, it's the testimony for me.
Sure.
Right? How did you end up getting the Lamborghini? Did you ever lose your first car? Did you ever go through bankruptcy or whatever?
Sure.
Because that's what pushes me on. And I said, pushing on when everything's rough, that's power.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how the media came in. And I did radio for about a year. I was a radio personality. And I brought the show to radio, and some things happened with the radio company, and I was forced to say, am I still going to do this show or am I going to give it up? And I remember God gave me the show. He told me to do it. And the guest that I had, I was very transparent with her. I said, hello, I'm not on radio anymore. I understand if you don't want to do the interview, but if you are up to me coming to your home, I would love that. And she said, come on.
Wow.
And that's when the People of Power show really started. And that was the original vision for the show, was me going in the homes of people.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, you were saying that you developed this women's conference based largely on the fact that you observed that there were just not a lot of women of color.
Correct.
I'm assuming that's what,
yes.
looked like you, women of color. And so you wanted to be able to create a platform to be able to help them, that is women of color and other minorities, to be able to showcase their gifts, which I think is wonderful, wonderful. And then you're saying that out of that comes this talk show. And now this talk show, it seems to me that you're looking at a lot of professional people, what they've done and how they've done it, which I think is interesting, primarily because what I'm hearing is your story is that you're looking at your life and going, wow, what kind of connection can I have with these people? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. And, every interview, I was blessed with a nugget. And so I always say my tagline is entrepreneurs, CEOs, some celebrities, but basically people who are doing amazing things. And I always say but basically people are doing amazing things because a lot of times we are so into titles, right? And I always say you don't have to have a title to make a tidal wave in life.
I love that. Don't have to have a title to make a tidal wave. I like that. Yeah.
In life. And I always just love to hear the story behind. I said we all have stories.
Sure.
I mean, some people's stories are bestsellers, right? But we all have a story. And no matter who the person is, if you sit and listen to it with an open ear, open heart, open eye, you can definitely get something out of the interview.
So okay, now you have already said that you were an only child. You're just you, and therefore you created this world of imagination, but it becomes reality. Who inspired you? Was there anyone in particular that you could say was your inspiration?
Well, I think the person that hopefully one day I will meet, and I always say this, I'm going to meet her one day, Oprah Winfrey. And I know a lot of people use her because she's just phenomenal, right? But there was something key that she said. She was on an award show, and she got an award, and she basically said how she kind of got started. And she said what she asked from the universe and from God is for God to use her. And that resonated with me so much because through life, we have a journey and we are sometimes lost in the life shuffles of who am I? What am I supposed to do? A lot of times we go by what we want and we wonder why what we want hasn't happened.
Yes.
It's because it's not God's destiny for us to have. And when you're open to life's journeys and you allowing God to say, I'm going to be the captain of your ship. Just follow me.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. And I went, when I got home and I saw that, I went and I said, God, I know I'm asking a lot. I said, I'm ready for whatever you're going to do. But I said, I want you to use me. And I'm going to trust you.
Well, I think that Oprah is a good bar to a good aspiration for anyone and a great inspiration. So Oprah inspired you, and what she said, in fact, it's
more than what she said than what she's done.
What she's right.
Because that could have came from anyone. But I do see how it works for her. And I know God is in the blessing business for all.
Yeah.
He doesn't just stop with Oprah.
Absolutely.
He doesn't just stop with Bill Gates and Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
But then you look at those people and you say, you know what? How did they do or become who they are?
Yeah.
And when she said that, to me, that was like the golden ticket.
Yeah.
It's like when American Idol says, you're going to Hollywood.
Yeah. So now that's your inspiration, and the fact that you've also been involved in creative experiences on your own. In working a job, Comcast, what kind of challenges has it been for you you're doing your 19-year job.
Right.
Of course, it's like, I'm not still doing everything I want to do independently of that job. Or are you?
Right.
Are you at that place?
Well, and again, I think this goes back to me having different personas.
Okay.
I would always tell people that say, "Oh, girl, you're everywhere. You're doing this, you're doing that." You know how? And a lot of people didn't really even know I had a full-time job because they never saw that side. That's
Gotcha.
Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty Lundan is the
Okay, I love it.
right. Kitty
Yeah.
Lundan is the multimedia creator.
Okay.
So by me being, and I have 2 sons, so by me being a mother first, right? And I always say that I'm a mother first, regardless, because they know Kenya, they know me. I always had to be a provider.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So with that, I always wanted to make sure that I had a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people say jump the leap of faith, and I give kudos to all of you all who've done it. But everyone has a different way of doing it. So I said, you know what? I work a job 40 hours a week, but I still have 24 hours in each day. I'm going to give some of those hours to Kitty because we as people, we work on these jobs for years and years, and we give them our all. Well, we give very little to our purpose, our passion, our dreams.
Yeah.
So I had to separate it.
Okay.
And that's how I do all the things that I do and make time for them. I'm also in school now, back in school, obtaining my master's in organizational management.
Okay. Good for you.
So, because education is definitely something that I've started to love. I had a passion for it about 2 years ago now.
Yeah. Good. Well, it sounds like you're doing a number of things and you're doing them well. Let me ask you, what has been the greatest challenge in this journey of doing what you do?
The greatest challenge is to continue doing what I do. Okay. And I say that because when life throws you a curveball, okay, I'm married. I have my mom. She's older. She's going through her thing. I've had marital issues, and, I'm very transparent with that. But when you have all of those things and you still have to perform, I said one day I want to write a book called Walking in Grace with Egg on Your Face.
Okay.
Because that's one of the biggest challenges in life is to still maintain while going through your storms.
Yeah. How true.
In life. Yeah. And, we talk about God through it all. I made a post the other day, and I said, I'm in my 3rd class going through my master's, doctor, and I said, if I get a C in this course, I'm going to be okay or happy. So I had people come, because I'm very motivational. So I had people come to my post and like, Queens don't get A's, and that's not the Kitty Lundan. And I said, you know what? I have to realize in some seasons, a C is the best that you have. And we have to be okay with that, because even though I'm an A student, I'm still a student. I'm learning.
That's right.
Right?
And you're still in the game. Even if you get a C, you're still in the game.
I said, a powerful C word is completion.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in life, we have to not be so down on ourselves and have to always raise the bar, always be, because sometimes we give it all that we have. And I used to tell my sons that. I'm like, if I know the C is the best that you could have given me, I'm okay. But I know when you could have did an A, then I'm not okay. But sometimes in life, we're C students.
Yeah. So it really sounds like you have the understanding of the way God intersects your life. And so as you think about that God is a God who pours in you, what is it that you would like to do for others? As God has poured into you, what is it that you would like to pour into others, including your sons?
Well, I think one thing is being transparent is key. I remember someone said, don't tell all your business. You tell all your business. And I said, really, I don't. I tell people what I want them to know. But I think sometimes, before the pandemic, many of us walked around with masks on our face prior to the pandemic. And I was like, when you take off that mask, you finally can breathe. You finally can let people see who you are and how you go through it and how you get through it. And even if I have to tell someone on Facebook or my tribe, I'm going through this. I'm not doing well in school. My marriage is not going well. My mom's not doing well. But then they still see me get up every day, give it my all. That's blessing someone else.
Okay.
I don't want to be the person that at the end of the day explodes or has a breakdown because I've held it all in for people. Because guess what? Those same people that I'm trying to impress, they're going through their stuff too.
Sure.
We all go through it.
Oh, yeah.
Some of us are more transparent than others. And I think for me, it's a healing. It's more of a therapy.
Okay.
When I can get to talk through my problems, going through my problems, because it doesn't allow me to ever let someone have, I'm not going to say something on me, but if I tell my own story, who could tell it better?
That's exactly right. You mentioned something about a tribe, my tribe. So that's your community of support, I'm assuming?
I would say my community of support. And it's not very, it's big and it's not. Okay, for example, a lot of people know me on social media. And I think sometimes people separate Facebook friends from real friends. Because there's a difference.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a difference. And I still I call myself the unsocial butterfly, the unsocial social butterfly, because I'm very social, but I'm very to myself as well. I'm very private in some areas of my life, because it's more of a protection. When you see a lot, you know a lot, and I don't call too many people friends. I do have people that I call in my tribe because we have things in common.
Okay.
And tribes are usually people who have something in common.
Sure, yeah. Well, it's obvious that you've been able to connect with a lot of people. I noticed that you had about 400 interviews, was that?
Yeah, over 400 interviews.
Over 400 interviews.
Yes.
So you've made some significant connections with some diverse individuals, as I assume. How does that come about? What are you?
Well, as far as the interviews, you mean as far as the selection process?
The selection process,
a lot of it is intentional. Some of it's driven spiritually. Sometimes God will tell me I need to interview this person, and I'll be like, okay. Okay. But then after the interview, I realized why I was led to do it. There was something that they said. But I think diversity is key. Even though I am, of course, pro minority advancement, I do understand the world is broad. Okay. And I do know that we have great people in all shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds. And I think that needs to be seen. So I'm very diverse. I like to educate people. And I always tell people it's not about how many people viewed you. It's about who viewed you. Because if you can change one person's life from an interview, you've done well, servant.
Yeah. I like that. Now, part of all these interviews, which is great, I think it's great, the diversity that you have. But this rapping, and I noticed that there was around 2020, you were dealing with putting together a rap, I Can Breathe, or
right. So it's called. Now I can't breathe. So basically, being home during the pandemic, we were forced to watch a lot of TV, right? And unfortunately, that's when the George Floyd incident happened. I mean, watching it almost every day, seeing him on the ground, calling for his mom. I mean, it did a lot to people emotionally, right?
Yeah.
And for my connection with that was, I am a mom of 2 Black boys. I have to worry when they go outside how people are going to look at them. And I know they're not thugs. I know they're not bad. But how does the world see them? So I said, you know what? I called my producer, Hennessy, and I was like, I got to do a song. I just got to do it. He's like, okay. So he sent me a couple of tracks, and I did it. I wrote it in like 2 days. So I went to the studio, and I was like, I got to do a video. So we did a video for it, and it went national. It actually went global. I had NBC in Jerusalem contact me because it was just like the whole world knew what Black Lives Matter meant at that point. And ironically, I wrote some songs for quite a few artists, and it was the only song that actually got that much attention. I know it was for a purpose. I know because everyone was kind of caught up in the whole movement and the wave, right? But it also told me a lot, too, because I pour into people that sometimes you don't get it back. And I had to stop and say, and this is the part of the only child sometimes, we kind of want people to like us. We want to bring people with us because we're always alone. So when we get the opportunity to bring people with us, we do. And I had to learn in life. I said, you know what? You have to pour as much energy into others that you pour into yourself. or you have to pour as much energy into yourself that you pour into others. And sometimes we don't do that.
Okay.
So what I started doing was I started in the last 2 years, I started focusing more on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to kind of be
self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah.
But also to the energy, because as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
I never had a problem with being behind the camera.
Okay.
So I would want to push other people in front of the camera.
Gotcha.
Because I'm also a producer too. Like I have show ideas that I want to do. I'm almost like I was told by an affiliate that I was almost like a Shonda Rhimes. Like I have movies that I want to write. I have a couple of reality shows that I want to produce.
Okay.
Hello, Netflix, Amazon. But
okay.
I'm a producer. So I, again, love to find talent.
Okay.
I love to get talent in front. But I do realize that in life, you can't make people want it.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Now, I'm kind of pushing toward your giving what you give to others and that kind of thing. And I noticed that you have done something with Children's Service
Council.
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah.
I'm a media affiliate.
So talk to me about that.
I'm a media affiliate for Children's Service Council. So let me just, before I tell you the story, and this is the whole where God goes into this. When I was on the radio, I remember when I started doing the show, I remember someone telling me, well, are you charging these people? Right? Are you charging these people to be on your show? And I was like, no. And they was like, well, you need to make money. I was like, okay. And I remember telling them the money will come. I said, let me hone my craft. Let me, get out there. And I said, the money will come. And at that moment, I realized that a lot of times we do things for money is a motivator. And I get it because we have to live. But also passion and purpose should come before payment.
Passion, purpose before payment. Gotcha.
Right? So all these interviews later is what actually led the relationship between Children's Services Council and I, because they saw me as being a person who was consistent. I had positive material, and positivity is a hard sell because I used to get caught up on views, and I'm like, if I was, had a DNA test on my show or fights on my show, the ratings would go up, right? And I said, I'm trying to push entrepreneurs and positive people. And so somebody told me it doesn't matter how many people view you, and I got it's quantity over quality. And I learned that early, and I stuck with it. So had I not been positive, I wouldn't have gotten that relationship with Children's Service Council. So we've been riding together for now 3 years. So I pretty much interview the organizations they fund. So anywhere from like Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, Early Learning Coalition, we do the VPK. So it's been a great relationship for the past 3 years. And I actually love the organization because they fund a lot. And just recently, I was asked to be their TV host on TV 20 for keeping Palm Beach County's children healthy, safe, and strong.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you'll make a great image for them to be able to listen to and receive from. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
And that's a lesson in life for people. It's like you can't be led by what the popular people do or the masses do. You have to stay true to who you are.
Yeah.
And when I said the money will come, now because I stayed true to what God told me to do originally, now opportunities are coming in that give me money.
Yeah. So I always say that your gift will make space, make room for you. So it looks like that you have been in a place constantly where you're watching God maneuver in your life in ways and in spheres that have been influential to others. So that's a good thing. I'm just so delighted to have you because I think you do represent that level of expertise and professionalism, and you do it with such grace.
Walking grace with egg on your face, right?
Walking grace with egg on your face. But the representation that you went, kind of going back to something you said, to see more women who look like you, women of color, who are successful, professional, and they provide the example and the inspiration to so many others. So I appreciate you doing that. Tell me, what would you advise? I'm going to say 3 things that you would advise somebody that wants to get into doing what you do in terms of the multimedia Can you give 3 things that you would give as advice?
Well, one of the things I would ask the person is why they're doing it.
Okay.
Because that's the biggest thing for people.
why?
I know social media makes everything look easy.
Mhm.
Right? Whether it's cooking, whether it's having a show. I mean, people I know that 10 shows popped up when I did them. You know, you get in front of a camera and you ask questions, but it's more than that. It really is. You have to be.
So that why is so important.
That why is so important. And that's for any profession. Why are you doing? Are you doing it because someone else makes it look easy? Right? Because when you're gifted in something and when you're anointed to do something, when God has given that to a person, that assignment, he'll make it easier for them than he'll make it easier for you. Because that's not your purpose. So I asked them why. But I would also say be authentic. Bring something different to the table. Okay? Because they have many people that do the same thing. But what's going to make it yours is you.
Okay. Your personality. And authenticity.
And then your intent. What's the intent? Why do you want to do a show? Or why do you want to be in multimedia? For me, is because I didn't see enough representation. I didn't see enough local people who were diverse getting highlighted. It was kind of like the same people were getting chosen for awards. Every local event, the same people were getting. And I'm like, well, good gosh, is this only a handful of people that we select? There's hundreds and thousands of great people in Palm Beach County in South Florida. Let's get these people.
Sure. So the why, I got that.
Okay.
And then the authentic, be yourself.
Right. And be unapologetic. I call it focus.
Okay.
Focus is forget obstacles. Continue unapologetically succeeding. And when you're focused, you don't ask people permission. That's one of the biggest lessons I learned in life. I always would ask people before I do something, should I do this? How do you think this sounds? Or how do you think this looks?
So looking for approval before you do?
Right. And I know sometimes it is a gray area there because we do want mentors. We need mentors sometimes.
Sure.
Right?
We need people to critique and so forth, give feedback. Yeah.
Right. But we also can't allow those people to have that much control over our destiny. Because critics can be haters.
Sure. Yeah.
Mentors.
Yes.
Can be haters. Sometimes we have mentors who we think in our mind are mentors, but they're also looking at you as competition. So you have to learn the discernment.
Sure. So that unapologetic means that
I'm not sorry for doing
right. You're convinced that what you do, it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, the advice is do it.
Yeah.
You know how Nike say, just do it?
Do it. Yeah.
Because then you allow the world to be your critic. You can't allow 5 people in your house to dictate who you are. I used to say in music, how am I going to ask you how to get a Grammy? You've never gotten a Grammy. You can't tell me I don't have a hit song. You've never had one yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to be careful of who we go to for advice.
Sure.
You know, if you're going to go to someone for advice, go to a master of that craft.
Sure.
And even then, they can't dictate who you're going to be.
Yeah.
So do it.
Yeah. Okay. So I need to let my audience know you've
let
given
'em know.
this the why, be authentic, and be unapologetic. Right. So all of those 3 things really are some nuggets, some real wisdom that you can give to people who would like to do what you're doing. Well, I am so happy that you took some time out today.
Well, I'm so happy that
to be able to
gave
share
me the
with
time.
me. Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about the journey that you've been on?
I would tell people to get to know people also personally. We get caught up on personas.
Okay.
We get caught up on what other people say about other people. And I would say, you know what? If you've ever had a question about someone, whether it was their integrity, just anything, ask the person. Have a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when those walls are broken down and those barriers, you'll be amazed of, 1, the friendships that you could develop, and also 2, the misconceptions that are out there about people.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't like people who are liked. And it's sad,
so you're saying
but it's
there's
true.
so many haters out there, huh?
And you know, I use the word lightly. Hate used to be a bad word back in the day, just like lawyers were. Don't you say that word? And I would say hate is a strong word. So I think sometimes people just kind of dislike people for. It could be for anything. It just could be because they're like, oh, that person rubs me the wrong way. But did they ever rub you? How did they rub you the wrong way? And then when people say I don't like the person, I always say, well, why?
Yeah, yeah. Well, here, I tell you what I want to do right now.
Okay.
Is I want to present you a tumbler. One of our members,
Okay.
she's got her own little business, Mahogany Design.
Okay.
And she's got a tumbler that has our logo on it, Power to Be Show.
Nice.
And so what I say is that every time someone drinks from the tumbler, they'll be thinking about the Power to Be Show. So I want to give that to you.
I appreciate
Other
it.
thing,
Thank you.
I want to ask if would you mind if I have a word of prayer with you at this time?
Of course,
And
I would love it.
I just want to thank God for what you shared. All right,
Okay.
so let's pray.
Okay.
Eternal God, our Father, we thank you. I thank you for what Kenya has brought to this show. I thank you for her wonderful, delightful personality and her spirit. I thank you, oh God, for the work that you are doing through her. And Lord, I thank you because she's not only showing us how to do things with excellence and professionally, but she's also showing that it is when you give your life to a life of purpose, the why, the authenticity, and the unapologetically work that you do, that it can be successful. So we thank you, dear Lord, and we pray that you would bless her, give her strength of body and of mind, that she can continue to go forth and be a light for your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Kenya, Kitty, Lundan, Madison.
Yes.
Thank you for being a part of our show today. And thank you. Keep doing what you're doing because you're making a difference.
Thank you.
You have the power to be because you are doing it courageously, connected, and creativity. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode.